Last week, I made a video about how Embark Studios had perfected tension in their new game, Arc Raiders, an extraction shooter which built up a ton of hype during a beta testing period last month. Unfortunately, it seems Embark did not perfect how to handle its announcement trailer. If we scroll through the comments section of the release date trailer, we can see many valid criticisms of how Embark handled this announcement. However, in all the criticisms made, there is one issue in common, which is most clearly said by a user named Benefits in this comment. You updated our tech test clients with a play now screen that led us to a countdown that ended today, but we can't play today. Why would you do that? To quickly explain what Benefits is referring to, if you opened the Arc Raiders tech test a week after it ended, it would show a menu with a play button that would move around the screen every time you clicked it. At the top of the screen, you can see a bunch of random letters and numbers, which could be decoded. One of the messages that was decoded was a link that sent you to this website, which showed a countdown timer ending on the exact start time and date of Summer Games Fest. This made people think that the game might shadow drop on June 6th, which built up a ton of hype. I personally didn't think the game would release that soon, but I was also pretty confident we'd at least get an open beta, because the play button thing made it feel like they were teasing something. All we got instead was a short 1 minute and 30-second long trailer that announced a release date of October 30th. So now what? Well, since all Embark Studios wanted to give us was a trailer, I decided to try and make the best of the situation by overanalyzing every possible detail of it to hopefully piece together some new information. And surprisingly, I found a lot of things I didn't notice on my first watch. So without further ado, let's analyze the trailer. The start of the trailer sets up this woman as our main character. There's a chance she could be someone important in the game's lore, but I think she was probably just made for this trailer specifically. Also, if we rewind just a bit, we can see this cat walk across the screen. I wonder if we're gonna be able to have more pets than just Scrappy the rooster. Like, maybe this cat can go and pick up heavier things than what Scrappy can get. I don't know, I just made that up on the spot. Next, we see our character walking around Speranza before it flashes to what is definitely a new map. We can see there's a big satellite looking thing on the ground, which maybe could have special loot near it, or be a hint at some new type of massive arc robot we don't know about yet. The trailer moves on from this shot pretty quick, but I'm going to talk more about this map later, so don't worry. After some more shots of the main character in Speranza, we see this poster of an unknown arc threat with a generous bounty, and to see Shani for more details. In case you didn't know, Shani seems to be the head of security in Speranza, which was established in the intro cinematics of the recent tech test. The choice to include a character we already know in this poster makes me think that Embark might actually be hinting at something here. Imagine if there were special missions in the game where you deploy onto a map with a group of other raiders and try to take down a huge boss, with the rewards being whatever you loot from the boss and the generous bounty listed on the sign. If you didn't know, Arc Raiders was originally supposed to be a PvE game more similar to Helldivers, but changed to an extraction shooter halfway through development. A lot of players who wanted a PvE game were really disappointed when Embark changed direction. Embark definitely saw the backlash, so maybe they're gonna try to implement PvE elements after all. To find out more about this, I did some digging, and I found a very interesting Reddit post from a user named Cost. Cost claims he data mined the game and found info on potential bosses and a fourth map. His post is very long, and I'm only gonna cover some of it, so I'll link it in the description for anyone else who's curious. Alright, so let's focus on the enemies and bosses section first. Here, Cost shows 3 major boss codenames, that being Salt, Wasabi, and Mustard. He says below that the only high HP enemies in the game files are these 3 codenames, and that if all of these codenames are currently in use, then maybe Salt is the Bison, Wasabi is the Bastion, and Mustard is the Queen. But then he says Mustard has tags for 3 phases, and the Queen doesn't have any phases, so who could it be? Now, this might be a stretch, but hear me out. Mustard has 60,000 health, which is almost double what the Queen had, and it also has 3 boss phases. This literally sounds perfect for a PvE boss fight, with tons of players teaming up to take it down. My theory is that Mustard is the unknown arc threat mentioned on the poster, and players will be able to queue into a special map or mode specifically for taking that guy down. This would satisfy players who wanted the game to have PvE features while also giving more content to Extraction fans. I could be totally off base here, but it's fun to speculate on what this could be. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, Cost also found information on a 4th map in his data mining. So far, the only real 4th map that appears to be in the files is called the Blue Gate. It might be the question mark area from this post, or it might be the gate looking thing on the bottom right side of the map. This post that he's referring to links to an image of the map with some text on it. Here we can see that Spaceport, Buried City, and Dam Battlegrounds are all clearly visible on the map, but then we can see a 4th area in the middle, which the creator of the image marked with a question mark. When seeing how that part of the map looks compared to the named ones around it, it does seem like this might be a location for a new map. The sand there is shown to be more orange or red, similar to that of Buried City and Dam, and there's also patches of what looks like water, and the name White Dunes shown right above it. When thinking about this, I decided to look up White Dunes with water to see what would come up, and I found this article that talks about Brazil's national park, which I won't even try to pronounce the name of. But anyways, look at some of the pictures from this place. It's absolutely beautiful. The water looks so clean, and everything is so blue. This is just my theory, but I think the code name, the Blue Gate, is referring to how the contrast of the white sand on such beautiful blue water would be seen as a gateway to paradise in this ravaged world. So in conclusion, I think the question mark is the Blue Gate. But that leaves the question, what map did we just see in the trailer then? My best guess is that map is located somewhere around here, and the camera is facing in this direction. I'll get more into why I think that later, because they do show more of this map later in the trailer. Anyways, this pretty much confirms to me that Arc Raiders will launch with at least 5 maps. Personally, I think there will be 8 maps at launch, with one of those being a special map for the unknown Arc Threat mission I talked about earlier. I don't have any evidence to back that up, but I just wanted to throw it out there so you guys could come back and make fun of me when I'm totally wrong. Okay, wow. I've been talking for so long now that I kind of forgot all of this was spurred on by a 3-second clip of a poster board. Kind of insane. Alright, finally moving on in the trailer, we see our main character loading into a launch pod and then busting this door open to reveal what might be another new map. I can't really tell because it's just one camera angle and the background is blurry, but I don't remember seeing that much greenery on any of the desert maps. I might be wrong though, so if you guys recognize this background, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Okay, this next part is pretty big. Here they show off this new landscape with lots of greenery and rocky terrain. I think this is on the same map that was shown earlier in the trailer because of the similarities in color palette and topography. Now, here's why I think this area is located here on the map. If we look at the mountains in the first shot of the map, we can see them slope downwards as they continue to the right. That makes me think that they're approaching the ocean, which means they can't be the same mountains as the ones on the right in the new shot because the perspective wouldn't make sense. But if you look at the map, you can see that this little area in the middle kind of looks like a valley with 2 mountain ranges surrounding it. Looking at the new shot again, we can see the mountains on the right, but also that the left area here and in the background appears to slope downwards, indicating another mountain range just off camera. I think that the mountain range is this one, placing the first camera shot here and the second camera shot here. Feel free to debate me on this in the comments because I'm not completely sure if I'm right, but I'd like to know what you guys think. In this next part, we see a rainy day in what looks like the same map from earlier, but then we see this. What is that? First of all, I absolutely love this dude's design. It looks like he's a spider creature, similar to that of the Queen, because we can see 3 of his legs helping him walk here. But obviously he's much taller than the Queen, with what looks like a big camera on top for vision, as well as probably to shoot lasers. This kind of lines up with the boss from the data mining post earlier, codenamed Mustard. The one thing I wish I knew is that if this is Mustard, what do his other 2 phases look like? The mode we see in this quick clip seems to be a good phase 1, as his tall stature gives him the ability to scout for raiders and gun them down from a long distance. But maybe in phase 2 and 3, he shrinks down to a more defense-focused form to take out raiders up close. Regardless of who it is though, I'm excited to see what they do for his sound design, because if they nail it, this guy has the potential to be pure nightmare fuel. The rest of the trailer doesn't show anything new besides this possible new sound effect for the Queen. Overall, after overanalyzing the trailer and doing all of my research, my opinion on the trailer has gone up a bit. I still think it was a terrible idea to add a countdown timer in the tech test itself because that completely threw people off and made everyone believe, myself included, that an open beta was gonna drop last Friday. But remember, those of us who played the tech test loved it. In the next 5 months, the game is only going to get more content rich, which will give us even more stuff to be excited about when the game finally drops on October 30th. Thanks for all the support on my last video, and remember to like and subscribe for more content.